if you wouldn't mind running us through the start of this card. Sean and
definitely.
Monks.
So
Ding, ding.
we got, well, to kick off with UFC, UFC 264. Monks, can you find out very quickly for me where that is? I believe it's in Las Vegas, but we can confirm that. The first fight is kickoff in the bantamweight division with Sean O'Malley is, say, the big name. What's interesting in this, he's had a very late change of opponent, and they put it out, and then everyone on social media, especially all the bantamweights on social media, were kind of like, yeah, I'll take that fight, I'll take that fight. But instead they've taken, how do you say his last name, Monks? Chris Moutinho?
Martino?
Good enough. He's going to make his UFC debut, so he actually hasn't fought in the UFC before. Hard to say. Sugar Sean O'Malley is, I don't want to say a massive star, but he's a star on the rise. UFC is trying to build him. He's got a huge following. He does podcasts up the wazoo. People love seeing what he's doing. They love the content he produces. He's coming off a knockout in March at UFC 260. Really dominated that fight. Could have finished that maybe a little bit earlier. Only has the one loss, which he kind of disregards that ever happened, but we'll leave that up to him to make a decision on. I reckon Sean O'Malley absolutely dominates this. It wouldn't surprise me if there's any odds on that he's very, very short.
Yeah, I can find odds. While I do that, it is at Las Vegas.
So is it Las Vegas? Cool, because that kind of goes back to what we were saying before about Nevada with their whole marijuana rules and actually, getting rid of those rules essentially. It doesn't surprise me. UFC is massive in Las Vegas. They all go to that city all the time to have cards there. It's one of their premier spots for where they actually contain UFC events, and this is a massive UFC events. The next fight.
So just on that, I guess, Sean O'Malley's still unranked, so I guess that kind of makes sense for that matchup, but he is heavy favourite. It's $1.10.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yep. I think he'll win and dominate in this one.
Sorry, I have missed the last 90 seconds of the conversation. Do we know where this Moutinho came from? So it's his UFC debut. I don't think he's been fighting in any of the he hasn't been in Bellator or the PFL.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if he's doing the local circuit. I think he's got a good record coming up into this.
Yeah.
He's a bit of an upcomer.
Yeah.
But you don't get pay-per-view Sean O'Malley for your debut. Maybe this is a huge upset. I just don't see it happening.
Oh, God, no.
No, they're trying to build Sean O'Malley up as a star.
Yep.
They wanted to keep him on the card because he's a massive name. People love him.
Yep.
So that's why they've got a guy. They did have a shitload of, I think Ricky Story was another one that said he could do it, but then said he couldn't make weight. And there was heaps of other bantamweights that wanted to get involved on this fight because, as Sean O'Malley is a huge name, but none of them in the end came through and got picked for this.
Interesting to see what happens. Can Moutinho hold his own against Sean O'Malley? He's 9-4 in his MMA career.
Yeah. The next fight is a women's bantamweight fight, and Peps, can you say Yana's last name for me?
Yeah, Kunitskaya. Yana Kunitskaya. The Russian takes on Irene Aldana.
I didn't want to say it because that I and T are too close together.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking a bit of a Carmichael Hunt situation there, were you? So it's actually an intriguing fight because it's the 4th ranked Aldana against the 5th ranked Kunitskaya. Aldana coming off a loss to Holly Holm, whereas Kunitskaya is coming off a win against Ketlin Vieira. Can't say I've watched too much of these ladies. Their records are similar. Aldana's 12-6 and Kunitskaya is 14-5. Monks, do you mind bringing up the odds here? If I'm being perfectly honest, out of this main card, these are the two fighters that I know the least about.
Big time. And I'd say it also because I'm pretty sure Nunes still holds the belt for this division. So she's dominated that and cleared our house. So these guys are 4-5. Sorry, these ladies are 4-5.
Yep.
I don't think that probably reflects where that division is at the moment.
No, it should be Nunes champ, and then everyone else starts at like 11, 12, 13.
Yes. So
the odds, I think it's pretty close, isn't it?
it should be 4 and 5. They'll be close in this.
Yeah, flip of a coin. So Irene is favourite, $1.80. Yana is at $2.
I like how you went the first names there, Monks.
Yep. I kept it simple.
Don't know enough about this Sharpie punting. Intriguing, man.
The next one, though, a little bit more interesting. Of course, the heavyweight with Bam Bam, also Tuivasa. I think he's Australian or is he Kiwi?
No,
he's adopted either way.
He's Western Sydney born and bred.
Beautiful.
He's half Indigenous, half Samoan, I think, or Maori. He's a blend.
He's a blend. One of the two.
Blend. I think he's got a podcast called the Half Caste Podcast.
Yes, but it's I think a bit of a comeback fight for him because he had a bit of a losing streak. He was rising quickly, had a little bit of a losing streak. I think he won his last fight from memory.
Last 2 he's won. So
there you go.
And both by first round knockouts against Stefan Struve, the Tower, and Harry Hunsucker. Hunsucker, I barely know him.
But he comes up against Greg Hardy, which is very interesting. Hardy kind of semi-fast track, big name, of course, being an NFL player in the past.
Former. Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman.
Of course, had the domestic abuse / drop charges, I think, in the end.
Yep. Acquitted.
I think
or drop charges. They're different things.
True. I think it might have been acquitted, yes. I think Derek Lewis was getting stuck into him about like why is he on a UFC pay-per-view. Yep. He's a big name. Sure he played for the Cowboys, which is
America's team.
The biggest team in the NFL.
Yep.
So, that draws eyeballs. I think he got stuck into Derek Lewis for being next con at one point too. So I don't know where that all came from, but hey.
Those in glass houses, eh?
Pretty much.
What do we think here, boys? Possibly I'm getting a little bit biased and trying to get around Bam Bam Tuivasa. I think
I'd agree with you, man.
Yeah, I think he's a genuine chance, and let's be honest, it's fireworks here. This ends via knockout. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I don't
see these guys going 3 rounds.
No, Hardy I think's had a few gone decision, and usually because he gasses, and he's essentially still learning the sport. I think Tua may be too far of a step up for Greg. But if Hardy wins this, that's actually really going to fast track him, I'd say, into the top 15, top 10 of the division.
Name. Yeah, massive name.
It's a big name for a guy that, like Tua, made it all the way through to Junior, who I think was 4th at the time. Junior Dos Santos, that is. And, Junior kind of showed the class and beat Tua, peeled at a post, knocked him out. Tua he's gone away, hopefully, gone back over his game. He's working his way through. Stefan Struve, I think, is always there, about 10. He's a bit of a gatekeeper these days.
Well, interesting. Neither of these guys are in the rankings for the heavyweights. You'd think Bam Bam, if he can get a win here and goes to 12-3, has to bust into that top 15, surely.
Yeah, with like Walt Harris down, or those other 4 guys.
Tom Aspinall.
I think Tua,
like Ivanov.
To get a big high-profile knockout of a guy like Greg Hardy, who's also a decent name, will bounce him straight back up in there.
And here as well, looking at those ranking, Marcin Tybura is ranked 8, and he easily accounted for Greg Hardy in his last fight. But regardless, if Bam Bam wins, even if he doesn't bust into the top 15, we're going to see a shoey.
Yes. That's what it's all about. Shoeys at this point.
It's the best. He's on the highest stage. The world's watching, and the shoeys getting.
Yeah, we've been a bit light on from shoeys from Ricardo, so some shoeys from Ty will be good.
It'd be really nice. Go Bam Bam. What's the odds here, Monks?
Yeah, so his favourite $1.72. Greg Hardy is out at $2.10.
And what's Ty first round knockout?
Ty first round knockout is $4.50.
It's not too bad.
It's a bit juicy.
Ty by knockout is $2.50.
So the bookies tend to agree. This one's probably not going the distance.
No.
Fireworks. That's exciting. It's very exciting.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I'm also looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
The welterweight. You got Gilbert Burns taking on Stephen Thomas. Thompson, sorry. Second overall versus number 4. Burns, of course, losing to Usman in February before Usman, of course, then went and beat Masvidal. So this is, I think, his first fight since then. Was probably a little outclassed in that. Started pretty good. He did wobble Usman a bunch of times, but in the end, Usman showing his class and got the knockout himself, working back into that fight and wearing Burns down. Stefan Thompson is an interesting one. Of course, 38 years old. He's getting there. He's coming off 2 wins. He had the trilogy of back and forth fights with Woodley at the time as the champion. He's always going to be there at the top of the division. He did get knocked out by Anthony Perez, I think, from memory, before these last 2 wins. Perez, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's up in there in the division, of course.
Great nickname.
Yes, the Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. You guys don't get it. I was thinking maybe our younger listeners. You know Tenacious D?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Of course we know Wonder Boy.
Okay, so
this guy.
I feel like a lot of our younger listeners won't know
our younger
who the fuck Tenacious D is, let alone
they'll understand who
Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
What is the secret of your power?
Hopefully they know who Jack Black is.
Maybe.
But then again, I can't. Oh, actually, no, he's been in Jumanji. They should know who Jack Black is. He's been in some big movies.
Of Rock.
That was the massive one. Yeah. But I think that movie came out to make you feel old, like 09. So
I feel like it's older than that. I feel like we might have been in high school.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Monkey, quick fact check. When did high school of Rock come out?
I think it's well older than that. I think it's 04.
Yeah.
The School of Rock. It's
03.
03. Fuck me. Yeah. Fuck, we're getting old. Anyway, this fight, I think Burns is a step above where Stefan Thompson is at the moment. I'm picking Burns.
I think if Stefan can stand up and keep it like in a striking match, I think he might have the advantage. If Burns goes to ground with his grappling and with his jiu-jitsu, I think he takes care of Wonder Boy here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because he didn't really try to push that against Usman, but then Usman, of course,
Usman's elite
wrestler. So why do that? You got to go in the hands, and he's got heavy hands.
Sure, and Wonder Boy's got that kickboxing background.
Yeah, like karate background as well. So whether does he play in that world, or like you say, does he just try to go in there, take him down, and ground and pound him out? Well, interesting matchups make fights. It'd be interesting if Burns kind of tries to stand with him a little bit longer.
Super interesting. And I think amongst the odds actually have Wonder Boy as a favourite, which is unusual. Yep. Lower ranked and 4 years older, I think.
Yeah, so Wonder Boy is favourite, $1.64. Burns is out at $2.20. Method of victory is Wonder Boy by points, $2.50. So probably using that kickboxing karate style to keep Burns at bay.
I think it's going the distance.
Keep it a striking match.
Yeah, well, he can keep his reach and his distance because he's also very, very long for this division. Can keep him at bay because Burns, he's like a power puncher. So he's got that power and then wants to probably shoot in on you. So keeping him at distance, that's what he did to Woodley, and then that's why they had the decisions in the draw that they did, trying to eat away the points. But I don't know. I think Burns maybe can get in there.
Yeah, I won't be punting on this. It's too close to call. I think this is just a real intrigue for mine.
Agree.
Let's go to the big one, huh?
The main event. Dustin Poirier, Diamonds himself, taking on Conor McGregor, number 1, taking on 5. Pretty sure Dana said whoever wins this will be the next in line to take on Oliveira as the lightweight champion.
Yep.
Poirier, of course, being 1 makes sense.
Bit harsh against Justin Gaethje, would you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. But, Poirier's there as 1.
Yep.
Gaethje, of course, lost to Khabib, and then, they had the Chandler.
Connor's the biggest name.
Connor's the biggest name, but if then Conor knocks off number 1, then you kind of like, well, it makes sense. He's just beaten number 1 guy.
Sure.
Otherwise, the better statement is the lightweight is stacked. There's killers up and down the list. So
Chandler, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, exactly. So there's guys there that they can compete, and they're in that top 10. But this fight, Dustin, McGregor, trilogy fight. There's been 14 trilogies in the UFC.
It's a lot. It's more than I thought.
Yeah. None of them was probably super great. The biggest one's probably Frankie Edgar, versus Maynard. I can't remember. Was it Greg? I can't remember his first name, but Maynard.
Must have been an intriguing trilogy.
Well, that is probably the best one because I think Frankie won the first one. They drew in the second, and then they had the third, and Frankie won in that. But each one was like split decision. Like it was super close, absolute wars. The other big one of note is Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. Junior knocks him out first one, and then the following two, Cain absolutely just takes him to task. Shows him he was the better, say, overall athlete and fighter in this. And then
GSP, Matt Hughes.
Yeah, another great one. BJ Penn, I think, and Matt Hughes was out there. Liddell and
that's going back.
Liddell and
fuck me,
Couture.
Randy Couture, yes. Then Randy Couture with Tim Sylvia, I think is another one.
You
got Couture, Belfort.
Yeah, Couture, Belfort was that. Couture, I think, had 3 in total. There's been a whole bunch. But
Miocic and DC.
Miocic is the only one where he's had the trilogy where all 3 fights were back to back.
Right.
So
they're all 2-1s. Hey, has anyone got a 3-zip?
Tito versus Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
That's fucking. Yeah. That's back in the day.
And they had a 4th one as well in Bellator as well, which is not on that list.
Yeah, right.
Ken and Tito won that too.
Any other 3-zips?
There should be.
I read that last week. So.
Charles Oliveira versus Lentz. You could almost count.
Well, so out of those 14, there's only one that's 3-zip.
Yeah.
Tito Ortiz, Ken Shamrock.
Yeah. And then Tito beat Ken again in Bellator to make that 4-zip. So
there you go.
Yeah. A bit of bad blood there. Anyway, speaking of this.
Backwards, let's look forwards to this Saturday night / Sunday.
I'm pretty sure everyone knows the history. McGregor won the first one by TKO. Poirier won the second one in January this year by TKO in the second round.
So only 6 months turnaround.
Yeah. Killed him with the calf kicks and then finished him. Conor couldn't move and then you just finished him and knocked him out.
That's a massive advancement in the sport, isn't it? These calf kicks.
So, I think Dustin came out during the week and said, I'm not expecting to throw any leg kicks in this because I know McGregor's all he's trained about is 1, to check it and 2, throw them himself. So he's expecting more leg kicks from McGregor and then he'll probably play his own game. So whether he's a bit of mind games, a bit out there.
Has Conor trained as much as Dustin has? Because from what I
have no idea.
From what I can tell, from the outside looking in, it seems like he's cruising around on his yacht. He's got all his endorsements. He's the highest paid athlete in the world this year, which is unbelievable. $180 million, according to Forbes. From what I've seen, from the outside looking in, it seems like Dustin's had a proper camp and Conor perhaps hasn't been training as hard as he has. Coming off a loss.
There's a possibility. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a possibility that is the case. That, yes, he's been out there not doing as much. From other things, it looks like maybe he's trained more than the last fight, but it's hard to say. He's definitely kicked up the shit talking in this one.
Big time.
Bringing Poirier's wife into this about her trying to slide into his DMs. But then the following...
Which is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, the following joke was she was sliding his DMs to then ask him to actually commit on his donation that he said...
That's what it was about, charity. That's what it was about. She was asking him to donate what he said he would donate.
Yeah.
So, look, does Conor actually believe this shit? Probably not. He just knows...
No idea.
That it plays into the theatre... the build-up of the whole thing. It's probably good from a marketing point of view. You can get 3 morons on the other side of the world that drink beer and like to speculate about it, talking about it. So it's probably not actually a dig at at Dustin Poirier's wife in terms of it meaning anything.
No, he's not sliding in his DMs to it's not like Tinder or anything like that.
No. Anyways, shit talking aside, what do we reckon here, boys? It's a trilogy. It's obviously one apiece. Poirier, the winner of the last one. What do we think?
Well, I said leading up to the last one, I thought Dustin was a class above Conor. I don't think too much has changed since then.
Yep.
It's really what has Conor been doing? Like you alluded to, like if he's been out there training, then maybe he's progressed far enough that he's caught up to Dustin, and this will be more of a competitive fight than the second one was. But I'm still leaning towards Dustin. I think Dustin Oliveira is what's next. He'll get past McGregor. He's happy to fight McGregor because he's getting paid. He's getting absolutely paid.
Yeah, of course.
McGregor's getting paid, but Dustin, of course, will get his own crumb out of this. So I just don't think Conor's closed that gap enough for where they're at. But it'd be really, really interesting if Conor has closed that gap. This will be a much more competitive fight. Don't think he has the knockout power at lightweight that he did at featherweight. But I'm confident this will be very entertaining to watch. I hope.
I tend to agree with you. I think Dustin, coming off a win, probably been training harder. Hard to go against him. Intriguing contest, obviously, between one of the biggest names ever to fight in the UFC. It's if whoever wins this is probably going to get fast tracked to take on the champ in Oliveira. Can't wait.
So I'm picking Dustin.
I've gone Dustin. Monk's odds and your tip?
It's a hard pick. I guess it comes down to who McGregor has been training with. If he's had a good camp, I reckon he could probably pull ahead. If he's just had people that's just been blowing steam up his ass, then he's got nothing to it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go McGregor.
Yeah. There you go.
I'll keep it interesting. So
I find it super hard to doubt McGregor these days because a lot of people doubted him going into that Aldo fight. Like Aldo's the best featherweight of all time. He's had the belt for the last 10 years. And then he came out and smoked him. He was like,
stuck in mud. He's stuck in mud.
Yeah, it was like, why do we ever doubt this bloke? And, he then went on that awesome run. So it's really hard to doubt where he's at. But then you got to, there's, as everyone talks about,
done much since though.
There's levels to this shit, and the levels has progressed. And McGregor he went off and did the Mayweather fight. He'd done a whole bunch of other stuff. Yep. He's kind of come back. I don't think he's lost that edge, but he's just, he's playing catch up now. He's not at the head and the pinnacle of where the sport's at.
And I think that's probably where his head's at. Like he knows he's got his backup plan. He knows he's making money, so he can go into fights. He can want to win all he wants, but he knows in the back of his mind he doesn't have to win. So I think that's where if he doesn't get ahead in this fight early on, he'll just coast and then it'll go to decision and Poirier will win on points.
Yeah, we'll really have to see because from what, Dana's going to promote the shit out of the fight and he's going to say like, hey, he really wants this. He really wants to get back to number one. He really wants that belt again. If you follow the storyline, you could see Conor winning this. Then he goes fights Oliveira. If he wins the belt, then they'll go and Dana will go poke Khabib and be like, bro, do you want to come back? And do you want
wrestling bears?
Yeah.
Stop getting Hezbollah fucking.
Well, he's in the States. He's training at ATT, so he's there as like essentially one of their head trainers under their head coach. I've seen some of the videos of him. They're like leaning in the sessions. He rides the boys so hard. Okay. I wouldn't want Khabib as one of my coaches. Probably wouldn't. I have very much less body fat than I do currently. if that was the case, but he's still young. He's still got plenty of fight years left in him. If he really, he basically said he's never going to come back since his old man died, and his old man was at all his fights. He's like, I'm never going to do another fight because he's not going to be here with me.
But Dana's like, hey.
Dana's just like, hey, if Conor's there, he's like, hey, this could be $100 million fight for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Khabib might be like, well, fuck it, I'll go out and beat this guy pillar to post again, get my belt, retire again, give that belt away, and get paid. But
a lot of speculation.
A lot of speculation.
A lot of speculation.
So I can see what Dana's just like, well, if Conor wins, then I've got the story I could play out. If he doesn't win, well, I've got Dustin ready to take on Oliveira as the number 1 title contender.